Whittaker Weekly is a 3-episode anime discussion podcast where two brothers discuss a show of their choice. The show can be anything from a current season flop to a decades-old classic. What are they going to talk about next? Who knows? They sure don't.
Yay. Hello to you wonderful, wonderful patrons. This is a video that's once again just for you. You get to go ahead and see our lovely faces as we talk about anime.
Alright, so, as you know, we do this special clip just for you, so let us know what you want to hear from us. Let us know, this is your chance to ask us anything. So, reply
in
to
regards
this,
to anime. Excuse me. Yeah, this is your chance to ask us anything in regards to anime.
If there's a show you'd like us to review, let us know.
Well, let's go ahead and get started then.
All right.
Episode 23. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lee.
And this is Whittaker Weekly. Let's get right into it. So, a couple of bits of news to get us started off this week.
Sure.
Something that was just announced that I'm personally very excited about. There is a delightful comedy called Joshi Kausei. And it is a comedy that has no words in it. It is a silent manga.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the misadventures of a high school girl and a couple of her friends. And it's really, really fun.
Okay.
You can actually read it on Crunchyroll. They've got it on their manga.
Okay.
Joshi Kausei. And it's just been announced that it will have a television anime adaptation in 2019.
Do we know what part of the year it's coming out? Or
Nope. No, I'm not seeing. No, it's not saying what part of the year. It's just going to be 2019. It's just been announced, so it's probably going to be winter, I'm thinking.
It might be pretty late.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a delightful manga. If you guys haven't read it, go ahead and give it a read. Again, it's incredible to see what can be conveyed without words.
It is.
So that's one bit of news that I wanted to share. Another bit of news that I wanted to share that actually made me laugh as I came across it today. There is a watchdog group in Japan, like we have in America when it comes to television. It's the BPO, the Broadcasting Ethic Program Improvement Organization. They publish monthly complaints sent in by viewers. A lot of these complaints are about how from new shows, contents of new shows are, that stuff is too adult for children and things like that. They get a lot of stuff concerning, adult content in shows for younger audiences. However, they've just recently published one of their own complaints that was actually put in by one of their employees, chewing out a bunch of these parents, because a lot of the complaints they've been getting have been for late night anime and dramas.
Mm-hmm.
So, the South Park time when your kids are supposed to be in bed anyways. So shows like Scum's Wish, Mr. Osumatsu, Seven Mortal Sins, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, all of them have been criticized for being, what if a child might see this? And the author is just like, it's the responsibility of the parent to make sure the child's in bed to not watch these things. Stop blaming it on us.
It's so
Excuse me. Still getting this nasty, nasty cough. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the bit of news that I wanted to share, other than I've been playing Dragon Quest XI, and it's been amazing. It's an utterly fantastic JRPG.
Yeah, you told me that there's a picture that you end up fighting?
Yes.
Tell me about the picture.
You end up fighting a demonically possessed painting. This painting, it desires to create beauty by taking color from its victims and using that color to make itself more beautiful type thing. The thing is, Dragon Quest XI is filled to the brim with puns. There are so many puns in this game. And the name of this creature is another pun. Now, it's not just puns. One thing that I've always been impressed with the Dragon Quest games is that they're able to straddle the line between serious and silly extremely well. It's serious and silly at the exact same time. But anyways, trying to find the, there we go. And I defeated this creature just today, but the painting's name is Dora in Gray.
For those of our less cultured listeners, Dorian Gray, the picture of Dorian Gray is a older novel written in the same time frame as some of the early pulp horror novels.
Written by Oscar Wilde.
About a man who lives a life of sin and debauchery, but his portrait is the thing that suffers all of the calamities. And so he lives a life of immortality, and the character has made appearances in various modern media, including Showtime's A Penny Dreadful and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But it's a known character.
If he were to lose a tooth in a fight, then he would not actually lose the tooth. The painting would have a tooth missing. Yes. Or if he would get a scar across his face, the scar would show up on the painting and not him.
Right.
So, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that was just a pun on Dorian Gray. Yeah. It's Dora in Gray. So, wow. I love Dragon Quest XI. It's great. Okay. I think that's it for news, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Nothing comes to mind.
All right, well, let's go ahead and just jump right into our 3 episodes in. And I believe it was my turn this week to pick.
It was your turn.
All right. This week, we watched A Certain Scientific Railgun. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. For those of you who aren't aware, this is a side series to A Certain Magical Index, which we covered on like episode 2. Yes. It was one of our first episodes. But anyways, A Certain Scientific Railgun. Misaka's electro-manipulation abilities and delightfully destructive railgun projectile move make her a rock star in Academy City. The techno-metropolis is packed with supernaturally powered students known as espers, including Misaka's flirty friend and roommate, Kuroko. In this city full of superpowered gangs, mad scientists, and monsters, there's no shortage of action. Okay, and so episode
1 starts off with a bit of action already. It demonstrates a bit of who Kuroko is and what her job is. She's part of this defense force called Justice. And so she puts on this green armband and is involved in hunting down some ruffians.
Yeah, she's kind of a peacekeeper.
Yeah. And it's demonstrated that her quirk, her special ability, her esper ability is teleportation.
It's really cool teleportation too.
And so she uses it to take down one thug, all the while she's on the phone with the black-haired girl who we get to know later, but we don't really know her yet. But she never made an appearance in the first season of a certain magical index that I saw. She might have,
maybe, I don't remember.
If she did, she was so immemorable. She wasn't as an introduced character.
Her name is Urihara, but we'll get to her in a little bit. She gets on the phone and she asks for the location of the other guys. She's given the location. She starts chasing them down, and she gives her spiel of, I'm with Justice. You better surrender. And then she sees that all 5 of them have already been taken down, and there's another girl, a middle school girl, standing in the middle of these collapsed thugs. And she's just like, oh, really? And that's our introduction to the main character of the series, Misaka Mikoto. But we don't really get to see her very much until later on in the episode.
Right.
So after that, I think they go straight to the testing after that, don't they?
They do. They give us our opening credit sequence,
and we meet Urihara. We meet Kongo. Actually, no, we meet Kongo before we meet Urihara. But yeah, we go to the testing, and we have all these students taking these tests where someone will hold up a card and the student will say what the pattern is on the other side, and then we see something that you really liked.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, they were doing the standard psychic test, which was I don't know if it was popular before Ghostbusters, but the first time I ever saw it was Ghostbusters, where they're having somebody read, the symbol on a card.
Yeah,
and
that's I just said that one.
And yeah, what they did in Ghostbusters was the guy kept getting it wrong, and regardless of whether they got it right or wrong, but he kept saying Bill Murray's character kept saying wrong and would give the guy electroshock. And he would lie and tell the girl that she must be psychic and be flirting with her the whole time in that first scene of Ghostbusters.
That's Peter Venkman for you.
Yeah.
So
that happens. Then it goes to the next booth, and somebody is expected to bend a spoon.
I didn't see it as a spoon. I thought it was just a piece of metal. But
okay. Yeah, it was some contraption hooked up to a compass, or what's that called? A protractor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were instructed to bend the device a certain number of degrees, and so they were testing how accurate people were with their psychic powers and their telepathic powers, and they were testing them based on a margin of error.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty cool.
It was like bend it to this degree, and the guy got it the girl got it at 0.02 off.
0.2 millimeters.
0.2 millimeters off.
So really good margin of error.
Really good margin of error. Yep, but even still, she was ranked as level 3 if you saw the notepad. And we learned that there are 5 levels of psychics, or actually 6 levels of psychics.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have... we then go outside where the more powerful psychics are dropping weights onto a target from the air.
Right.
And this is where we see Kuroko, and we learn that she's level 4. Mm-hmm. And she drops this weight, and she's like, and she's just like, I'm just off from today. And she complains about how that the incident yesterday must be upsetting her still.
Yeah.
And
so her ability is teleporting herself or objects or anything she touches. So I was assuming that what she was doing was teleporting heavy weights to a place
and then
dropping it in order to get to a target or get to a certain distance.
That's probably exactly what happened. We just saw the dropping it.
Yeah.
But we then meet a girl who is very much a princess. And she wants to be the princess of the school. She wants to be the superstar of this girls' school that they're a part of. Mm-hmm. And she's got this fan, and we don't learn what her powers are, but she's bragging about how great she is and how she'll be the most powerful. And this is Kongo. Mm-hmm. And she's bragging about how great she's going to be and how she's going to be the star of this academy. Then all of a sudden there's this explosion, and everybody gets knocked over. And the view cuts over to the pool, or like it cuts. They look over to the pool
from their perspective. The pool is a football field away,
and we see
all the water erupting.
All the water erupting out of the pool, reaching hundreds of feet up into the sky, just kaboom, And Kongo just gets scared, wondering what on earth is going over there. And we learn from Kuroko that's our real star over there. Like she's like, what are they doing? Oh well, she's so powerful that in order to actually measure her strength, they have to use the water to dampen the blast so they can properly measure it.
Yeah.
And it happens multiple times. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts back, and then we see Misaka. Is everything okay?
I'm hearing myself a little echoey. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with my cord. Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay, good deal. Anyways, we see Misaka for the first time, and she just launches another coin into the pool, or she launches her shot into the pool, and it causes another explosion. And they say, and they just let her know that she's level 5.
Yeah.
So we then cut to the 2 other girls that we're introduced to in this show. And they are Urihara. She's the one who was working with Kuroko over the phone. She's got a band of flowers. A hairband of flowers. And then we meet we meet Saten. And Saten, she's introduced by flipping up Uiharu's skirt. Yeah. Yep.
It's one of those kind of shows.
Yep. You never see what she's wearing. But she then they're walking down, just chatting with each other. They're old friends, and they just had their tests today as well. They go to a different school than the two girls. But
no, that was something that earlier on in the episode, right after they defeated the thugs and something came up. Right after they defeated the thugs, our two main girls went to go get a soda, and one of them kicked the machine.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And after, because the thing doesn't actually dispense sodas, you have to kick the machine to get one out. But if you do, then security droids show up
for destruction of property.
And then what happened? And so the teleporter takes them up to the top of a skyscraper to avoid security, and just above them is the blimp, and the blimp is telling everyone
listing the schools that are going through the testing today.
Mm-hmm. So it's that's how they establish how that's all happening at once.
Anyways, so those two girls come out from their testing, and it's revealed that Uiharu is only a level 1.
Right.
But Saten says, you shouldn't feel bad, I'm only a level 0. So level 0 is somebody who cannot consistently produce results.
Right.
Or they consistently produce bad results.
Or no results whatsoever. Like with Toma from Railgun, or from Index. Toma cannot produce any results on his own. The only results he produces
that's why
is cancellation of other people's stuff.
Yep, and that's why we see...
but he cancels both science and magic.
Yeah, that's his ability. He cancels both science and magic. But yeah, that's why he's allowed to remain in the school within Academy City, because while he has no psychic abilities to speak of, he has this unearthly ability to whatever he touches with his right hand, whether it's scientific or whether it's done by an esper or by a sorcerer, he's able to cancel it out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Toma's only in a bit of the first 3 episodes, just kind of cementing that this is Misaka's story and not his.
Yeah.
But anyways, we then get to Uiharu is very, very excited because she's finally going to meet her idol, who's Misaka, and because her coworker, Kuroko, she is invited him along to come and hang out.
Yeah.
And we then see Saten just start complaining and saying that, she's probably just a spoiled brat princess, this level 5. That's how they all are, especially at that girls' academy. And they
and she's ridiculously polite and nice.
Yeah,
she's just so down to earth.
She's down to earth. She's polite. She's nice, and Saten's just completely taken aback. But before that, we see just how devious Kuroko is. Kuroko is completely smitten with
are we talking about her day plan?
Her day planner. Yeah. She said that she's completely smitten with Misaka. And she pulls, and while Misaka is learning that these people are going to come and hang out today, she said, Kuroko says, don't worry about it. I've got an amazing stress-free plan right here. We're going to go ahead and just do what I've got planned. And Misaka grabs the book and says, you mean this plan here that says use Uiharu as bait to get closer to Kuroko? No, to get closer to Mikasa?
And it's a 5-step plan that includes somehow
I'll get her name right at some point.
What?
I'll get her name. I said her name wrong 3 times before I finally said Misaka correctly.
Yeah, Misaka. I even when typing this out, I kept putting Mikasa from Attack on Titan. So
yeah, no,
Misaka.
they are completely different people, but they're both amazing warrior women. So
They are both amazing warrior women.
anyways,
With starkly different personality types.
yeah.
No,
And there's this 5-step plan that is
that may or may not
increasingly embarrassing for Misaka for every single step. And she gets upset. And this is a running gag throughout the series. Kuroko does something perverted involving Misaka, or trying to involve Misaka. And then Misaka beats on Kuroko. And she tackles Kuroko and starts beating her up again as the two girls see them through the window. So that's the first time they all meet. But yeah, then they hang out. They go to an arcade, have a good time there, and they go get some crepes.
Yes.
And they are like,
they're holding these flyers.
yeah,
And the flyers indicated that that the first 100 customers to this particular crepe shop would get a frog totem, a little mascot on a chain that you could it's very popular in Japan. And Kuroko starts rubbing it in on Mikasa, saying, "Oh, you just want to go there for the little frog mascot, don't you?" And she goes into this tirade about how, what? A frog? A little slimy amphibian? What self-respecting girl would be interested in something like that? And then suddenly...
And she's using her bag to, like, kind of as a body shield, so she's holding it up close to her.
Yes.
And then suddenly,
from the bag that she's holding, drops the amphibian, the frog mascot she has hanging from her bag already. Completely ruining the moment.
Yep. But they line up, and only the first 100 people who... Because the crepe shop just barely opened today. So the first 100 people who line up, or who buy something, will get one of those keychains.
Yes.
And so they line up, and then Uiharu and Kuroko, they decide to go sit down and rest while the other two remain in line. And Saten starts realizing how badly Misaka actually wants one of these things. Like, she's impatiently tapping her foot.
Do you want to trade places in line?
And she gets super excited, and she's about to say yes, but then she's like, no, it's fine. I'm not in line for the frog or anything. I just really like crepes, you know. And then
they get to the front of the line.
And Saten gets a crepe, and she gets the little frog, and the girl behind the line says, "Congratulations, this is our last one." And she's like, "Wait, what? You don't have any more?" We're like, "Nope, that's the last one." And then we turn around and we see Misaka on the ground on all fours, just crushed, depression cloud.
Hands and knees, it's raining over her head.
She's just super depressed. And Saten, who doesn't even really care, decides to go ahead and give it to Misaka, and Misaka just starts worshipping her for a comical 5 seconds. But they go get their crepes, they rejoin the girls and stuff, and they like Uehara and Saten are sitting on the bench while Kuroko is trying to get Misaka to take a bite of her crepe, and Misaka wants nothing to do with it because she just says, why would I want to take a bite of a cream and natto filled crepe? Who on earth gets cream and natto? If you don't know what natto is,
I don't.
It is sticky fermented soybeans that are said to be extremely healthy. You either love it or you hate it. There is no in-between ground for natto.
Okay.
It's Natto. Go ahead and look up some pictures of it. I can show you some pictures of it after we're done after we're done eating, or
Done
done
recording.
eating after we're done recording. Now you know what my mind's on. I actually like it. I had natto quite a bit while I was in Japan. It's very, very good for you. But it's it's you either really, really enjoy it or you really, really hate it. There's no in between. So anyways, while they're arguing around, Uehara realizes that the bank behind them, the shutters are closed. Then it's like 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or like not even that, like probably a bit later since they met up after school. But the shutters are closed in the bank, and as soon as she realizes that, the shutters explode out and these thugs run out with some money in some bags.
So immediately, Kuroko puts the justice badge on, says, "Up, looks like it's time to go to work."
And she tells Misaka, "Stand back,
Stand back. This is my job this time. Don't interfere this time."
Yeah, because Misaka got in trouble for interfering last time. But they she goes out and she just shows just how skilled she is with teleporting, and she takes out 2 of the thugs like they're nothing. And then she's got these holsters around her hips, and her teleporting is that she has to touch something, but as soon as she touches it, she can teleport it instantly.
Yes.
So she knocks down one of the thugs really, really easily because making fun of her for being, middle school girl.
He comes out to assault her, so he comes at her with a running punch, and she very deftly just kung fu spins him onto his back, and then teleports these nail-shaped spikes into the ground.
And she what she does is she just flips up her skirt a little bit, and she's wearing shorts as well. But she flips up her skirt, and then she she just casually brushes these spikes that she has in these holsters
she's
around
got
her legs.
holsters as garter belts or something.
Yeah, and and those spikes just appear and pin the thug into the ground.
Yep.
And then another thug tries to take her out, and this thug actually has pyromancy, or not pyromancy, pyrokinesis.
Okay.
And she's able to defeat him, knock him out. Because he's just showing these flashy, showy moves, but she's able to teleport super easily and get right behind him and just knock him out.
Nice.
Well, the last guy has snuck off during all of this. You okay?
No, we're just checking the audio levels. It's fine.
Okay. Anyways, she defeats the other one, and then the third one starts making a getaway, and we realize during part of this, and this is kind of a very, very subplot that we haven't really talked about, but one of the things they do to kind of explain the city is that there is a bus that goes through the city taking people on tours, because this city is, because of the purpose of the city, which is in studying espers and advancing espers, a lot of the greatest scientific minds live in this city. Right. So this city, which is 80% students, is 20 to 30 years ahead of the rest of the world in technology.
Right.
And so they
so regions around the world regions
people
outside
take tours of the city.
Take tours of the city.
And so there's a tour bus, and they meet up. One of the reasons she's so upset is because of the long line. Well, they got there at the same time the tour bus did.
Yeah.
But anyways, this
the tour a teacher on the tour bus.
She's not a teacher. She's the tour guide.
Was she the tour guide? Okay.
She's in the uniform of a tour guide.
Okay.
But anyways, she
indicated that one of the children had gone missing.
One of the children has gone missing. And so they start looking. The people who are not fighting the thugs start looking for the child, and then Saten sees the child being taken by one of the thugs.
The last remaining thug. The
last remaining thug. And she is about to look back and call for help, but then she realizes that if she doesn't act right now, then something, the child might not make it. The child's going to be in danger. And so she rushes to the child. And then we see Misaka and them see what happens. And she's grabbed the child. She's screaming, "I'm not going to let him go. Let him go." And so the thug kicks Saten in the face.
Yes, he does.
And knocks her to the ground. And Misaka gets pissed.
She says, "I'm sorry, I can't stand back anymore. This is now personal."
And Kuroko's just like, "It's all yours." And this thug just drives off, and he spins around because apparently.
Now you'll get to see why she is number 3 of the top set of the only 7 level 5 espers in the city.
In a city of 2.8 million people, there are only 7 level 5 espers, and she's the 3rd most powerful out of all of them. And she pulls out this coin and she puts it in her hand.
And flicks it up
and
into
she
the air.
flicks it up in the air, and then she just starts charging her electricity.
Meanwhile, the guy in the car, he's sped away, but drifted a full U-turn and is charging her with the car. So he's barreling down straight at him when the coin flips back out from the sky,
right in front of
onto
her thumb,
and she flicks it. And that's why during this entire moment, Kuroko is still gushing about her and explaining who she is and why her name is Railgun.
That's what they call her, Railgun.
Why? Because she shoots this coin at the speed of a railgun, knocking the car into the sky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, what a railgun is, in scientific terms, from my very limited experience, is that it's a gun that uses electromagnets to hyper accelerate and propel a projectile faster than gunpowder can.
But railguns are, because of the energy that's required to shoot a railgun, and because of the size of the magnets that are used, the smallest railgun in existence is currently on a battleship.
And as I recall, that battleship moves backwards when it's stationary and tries firing that railgun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she can do that with a coin.
With a coin, yes. And so, she is our title character. She is a certain scientific railgun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so the episode kind of wraps up there. The criminals get taken away, and Kuroko tells the pyrokinetic that you're like you said, you've got decent abilities. You're at least level 3. You should take this time in prison to rethink your life, because you could probably do something amazing with your powers. And so the episode kind of ends. I think that, I'm pretty sure that's where the episode ends. But anyways, it's just kind of a wrap up at that point. Episode 2 starts though, showing the long time hunt between Misaka and Toma. And this is the only time we get to see Toma in any, outside of the opening credits, this is really the only time we get to see Toma in the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
And we see Misaka, and it looks like she's late for something. She's running through the streets, along the sidewalks and stuff. And then she's waiting at a stoplight. And then you see in the background Toma. You would only know that it's Toma if you've seen the original series, but you're supposed to at this point.
Yes.
But you see Toma creeping by and then running away from her, and then she notices him and runs after him.
Yes, she does.
And Toma gets stuck in an alleyway where there's just,
there's no escape.
There's no escape. And she comes in on him and says, finally, I'm going to have my revenge. And she pulls out this shot that she used to level a car.
Yes.
Okay? That it flipped the car and just destroyed it.
Uh-huh.
And she does this same attack at Toma, and Toma just lifts his hand. I think it's his left. Is it? I think
it was his right hand.
Was it right? Anyways, he lifts his hand.
Yes.
And there's this explosion, and Kuroko comes out, and she's just like, "What's going on? What's happened? There's an explosion nearby." And Misaka goes, "Huh? What?" Because she's back on the main road.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know.
She's playing the amnesia game.
She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's no explosion. Nothing happened here. And Kuroko's just like, oh, okay. But and then it cuts to the alley, and you see everything is just blackened.
Blackened. The metal is slightly melted and distorted,
except for the place where Toma stood.
A perfect rounded cone of the complete absence of damage.
The complete absence of damage. There's just nothing there. Just showing you what Toma's capable of doing and how much it pisses Misaka off.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, except that it's pretty obvious that she's a 14-year-old girl who has feelings for a guy and doesn't know how to handle it.
No.
So, yeah, the more you watch the original series, the more you realize how Misaka actually really, really likes Toma. But she doesn't have the emotional maturity to handle it.
And she's showing her way of liking him in a very guy fashion of the shoulder punch.
She's very much a tomboy, so it works for her character. Anyways, I love that introduction to Toma so much. It's just If you've seen the original series, it just makes you so happy seeing Toma just there doing his thing. Yeah. And this is before he lost his memories.
Yeah.
Because this takes place before a certain magical index started.
Right.
So, anyways.
So, yes.
So that's the beginning of that episode.
Pretty early on, they end up in the dorms.
Yeah, pretty early on, they end up in the dorms. And it's just Kuroko by herself. And she's so excited about celebrating her anniversary with her beloved big sister. She rather than calling Misaka by her name, she says Ne-sama a lot.
Uh-huh.
And they translated that as sissy.
Yeah.
In English, which doesn't really work because Sama's very, very formal.
It's an honorific.
It's honorific, showing that she shows respect for her, but at the same time she's calling her ne instead of one.
Uh-huh.
So it shows that she's being casual and honorific at the exact same time.
She's being casual with somebody who is her superior.
Yeah. Yeah. In reality, she should just call her senpai, because she is a first year, whereas Misaka is a second year. So she's 12 to 13, and Misaka's 13 to 14.
Right.
So, because they are in middle school, lest you guys forget. Anyways, what? Anyways,
Okay, so there's a series of events happen in their dorm room that includes a sequence where Mikasa is socializing with the other two girls and being really friendly with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's excited about celebrating their anniversary, and so she's got all these plans about doing all these, fairly lustful things with someone who has no romantic interest in her whatsoever.
Right.
And she... But on the way back to their dorms, Misaka has run into Uiharu and Saten, and has invited them to come along.
Yes. And
so they are all, just as she opens the door, all of Kuroko's plans just come crashing down.
Because she was planning on having an intimate evening with her beloved, and her beloved brought company.
Yep. So we learned a lot of things about Kuroko and Misaka in this scene, where Kuroko, anyways, the girls try to have just a casual conversation and stuff. And at one, they start going, showing each other their photo albums and stuff.
Yes.
And again, Saten is just super surprised at just how down-to-earth Misaka is, because she goes through her photo album and she's got regular first day of elementary school photos. She's got, photos of her at the pool with friends. She's just like a regular kid. And she's like, I was expecting, you go to this prestigious girls' academy. You have, you're level 5. You're the star of your school. I wasn't expecting stuff like this. And she's like, I started at level 1. I'm a level 5 because I've grown and I've improved, but that doesn't change who I am, and she and Saten become closer friends and stuff, and so
and then they ask, does
Kuroko, do you have any photos? She's like, oh no, I don't have any photos. I don't have any.
I don't plan for the future. I don't live in the past. I live in the now.
And as she's doing that, Saten has actually gone over to their bookcase and has found her photo album.
But it's not of her.
It's not of her. It's photos of Misaka. All photos of Misaka. All of them.
All of them stalker level photos of Misaka.
And the book is titled "Photos of My Beloved Ne-san," or my beloved sissy. And you're just like, and so once again Misaka gets upset. Rightfully so. Gets upset.
Of course.
At this girl. And it cuts again after, there's a cut and there's a sound of somebody getting punched. And it's then Misaka and the two girls on each other's beds. There's more than that, but they explore the room. They find a box under Misaka's bed that turns out to not be Misaka's bed. They pull it out and they're just like, oh wow, look at all these amazing pieces of underwear that you have. And Misaka's just like, that's not mine. It's like, yeah, no, that's mine, says Kuroko. And they just pull out all these really crazy, elaborate pieces of underwear.
Yes.
And they're like,
they're
so...
all very mature lingerie pieces.
And they...
display lingerie.
Yeah. And you're just like, what? You're 13. What are you thinking? Obviously, we know what she's thinking because she has said as much. But anyways...
But then there's one piece of underwear that is an adorable cartoon character.
Adorable cartoon character. Oh, you have underwear like this too. And then she's just like, the Misaka says, no, that's actually mine.
What are you doing with my underwear?
What are you doing with my underwear in your box? And again, it's another, she punches her and stuff. But that's the reason I brought this up is because, yes, it's kind of a dirty scene. But at the same time, it's a good character building scene for Misaka because we see that she's a very, very tough outward girl, especially with like the way she handles with her emotions and stuff like that. Yeah. But again, with like the frog in episode 1, while she's a tomboy in her personality, she's still very much girly and enjoys girly things. Yes, girly cute things. So
it's kind of you're looking at a character in a very specific transitional period. Is that when you're it's like the boy who hasn't quite grown out of his Superman underwear. Mm-hmm. And so it's just the girl version of that.
Middle school's just a weird time. Let's be serious.
It's true.
Anyway.
That actually reminds me. I saw a tweet today from Gabe of Penny Arcade. Said that he was going into Gabe Jr.'s middle school for a thing. And says, I'm 40 years old and I'm still creeped out by the thought of going into a middle school.
Middle schools are just weird. Seriously.
So,
but anyways,
now there's a delivery. There's a delivery during this scene.
Before that, let's go ahead and just talk about how Kuroko is... Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's the delivery that leads into the part you want to talk about.
Yes, it is.
But right before that, Misaka is by the door, like huddled by herself, right. And she gets upset because Misaka is having a good, friendly conversation, laid back conversation with the other two girls.
Yes.
And Kuroko just can't handle that, and then she starts like whining and complaining and stuff, and she starts crying, and Misaka's like, "What on earth is going on with you?" And she's just like, "This was our special 1-month anniversary." Yeah, she wanted to do all that stuff for their 1-month anniversary.
Yeah. And this whole time she's like, oh yeah, this is the 1-week anniversary of having met these friends.
Yeah, so we should have a good time with them. And but anyways, Kuroko is just
completely missing the point that anniversary means annual, means yearly.
But anyways,
but they're teenage girls, so of course
that's
it happens.
Fine. But anyways, she complains about how this is our 1-month anniversary, 1 month after us fatefully meeting and us being tied together by the red strings of fate, and how our lives are now intertwined. And she's like, I just happened to move in with you on that fateful day. And she's just like, but here you are having time of your life with other people other than me. And the other two girls are getting kind of sad about this. And then Misaka's just like, stop. You barged your way in here.
Yes.
And she just explains how it really happened. Yes, and it's the complete opposite of how Kuroko just answered it.
It's true.
So yeah, Kuroko and Misaka have two very different stories about how they met. But anyways, then
that argument is interrupted by the doorbell.
By the delivery. And it's like, yes, is this Misaka in room 208?
No, the delivery was for Kuroko.
Was it Kuroko?
Yes.
I thought the
delivery man was answering.
I thought he asked if it was for Misaka, if this was Misaka. Anyways, doesn't matter.
It said a delivery for Kuroko. It says, all right, what's in the box? Computer supplies.
Computer supplies. And you see Kuroko in the back being like, yes, of course they would hide that. And she's like,
who's it from?
Who's it from? And he
such and such sex supply shop.
Such and such sex supply shop. And Misaka's just, and then Kuroko's just like, no, why didn't they hide the obvious part? And then Misaka gets furious and blows the door open with her powers and, knocks. But
because
Kokoro is a teleporter.
Something we skipped
Kuroko.
over in episode 1 was the 5 things that they were talking about. 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 5 things that they were in episode 1, when she has the book and the items of things that she was going to do that day.
Oh yeah, we skipped over that for a reason.
One of the items was poisoning her with an aphrodisiac. This was the delivery of said aphrodisiac.
Wow. Yeah.
Even though it was a week later. Or I don't know if she's been getting more and more, or what's been happening. But this comes up later in the episode too.
It really does. Anyways,
and so it's important to know that an aphrodisiac is a running gag at this point. The existence of an aphrodisiac is a running gag at this point.
Jeez. Anyways,
but yes, they end up having an altercation. Where Mikasa blows her front door out into the hallway, and there's now shards of wood everywhere, and the two of them are getting ready to fight. When Mikasa stops fighting immediately, and
Kuroko's just like, wait, what, huh?
And then suddenly, from behind them, the headmistress speaks.
I think she's
Rule
the head
9,
resident.
The head resident. The head resident. She's in charge of their dorm. She's the dorm mistress. Rule 9. The use of powers in the dorms is strictly prohibited. It was necessary. So there are circumstances where you couldn't not use your powers. Yes, that's right.
She instantly grabs the teleporter and snaps her head and tosses her body off screen. And the other girls just go, and it's just death. Obviously, she's not dead. It's a gag. But at the same time, it's just, whoa! And then she goes up to Misaka and just says...
and this whole time, her character design, she's got the glowing glasses.
Yep.
So you don't see her eyes until the very end.
When she looks down at Misaka.
And she has these beady green eyes looking down at her.
And Misaka's just terrified for her life at this point.
So it's just a brilliant character design. It's a well done scene.
It's a very, very funny scene. And then the scene cuts, and Misaka and Kuroko are out scrubbing the school pool.
Yeah, the drained school pool. They are scrubbing it. They've been there since early morning. It's noon, and they're only 30% done.
Yep. And anyways, Kuroko being a Kuroko, she has a devilish scheme to try to get closer to her beloved Nechan, her Ne-sama. And she has filled her water bottle with a drink that's laced with those aphrodisiacs. And she says to her sister, hey, how about we have a break? Why don't you come take a drink? And she's just like...
Does that drink happen to contain the computer parts you had delivered?
Computer parts you had delivered yesterday. And Kuroko doesn't say anything, but there's just sweat drops coming down her face. Yeah, I knew it. But these other girls come up, and they're girls from the swim club.
They're first years.
And they offer to help once they're done doing what they need to do.
Yes.
And Kuroko
But before that, they start they start socializing. And they start talking. Like, well, you wouldn't happen to be Mikasa, would you? It's like, you saved me at this and this event. And they're just gushing about how much they idolize her and how happy they are to be that she's around. And they're just absolutely loving it.
And then Kuroko again is just saying to herself, why am I the only one being left out again? It's deja vu. It's happening again. And what sets her off even more is that one of the girls offers Misaka a drink, and Misaka takes it.
Yes.
And Misaka gets very, very upset about that. And she...
Kokoro.
Huh? My bad. Yeah. Kuroko gets very upset about that. And so she starts thinking to herself, why am I the one who's left out when I've done all these wonderful things with my sister? And every single flashback is just a still of Misaka beating up Kuroko
for invading her personal space.
Like, she punches her, she kicks her, she does a
Body
suplex.
slam.
She suplexes her into the ground.
It's like she's not learning or something.
Yeah, you'd think. But every single memory of her getting close to her beloved sister was Misaka beating her up for trying to get close to her. So, yeah. But anyways, the two girls leave. because they've got to go to it's their job to take care of the drains today. That's why they were there. But they also offered to help clean, and one of them is a hydrokinetic.
Yes.
And she can control water, and she's offered to help them clean the pool.
Yes.
And Misaka's super excited about that because it's going to get them done a lot faster. Anyway, Kuroko is upset again, and it cuts to the other two girls, Satin and Uiharu, and they're very, very excited because Misaka bought a present for Kuroko to, kind of try to patch things up for after how things went the other day.
But after we saw her underwear drawer, do you think that she'd even like something of that style? Well, she's her friend. She should know, right?
Yeah, but so she gets Kuroko gets upset once again. Feeling that she's being left out, and Misaka gets worried about offering her this present. But finally, she gives her the present, and she opens it up, and it's a T-shirt with a cute bear and like USA
and a rainbow
on it, and that instantly makes Kuroko happy. And so they decide to go ahead and toast their friendship. And so they each have a water bottle, they toast and they drink, and who has the aphrodisiac laced bottle?
Oh, toasting with the wrong drink. It wasn't until after she swigged it that she realized what she had done, and her water bottle, and she drank her own aphrodisiac.
Kuroko drank her own aphrodisiac.
It's so bad. And so things escalate from bad to worse after that point, and she starts insisting on lewd behavior, and
she's
being shut down even harder and harder, and it ultimately resulting in her
I have your swimsuit right here. Why didn't you change to that? That was locked in my locker. How did you get that? A locker is no way of stopping a teleporter.
Yes.
And so things get worse.
So things get worse and worse, and eventually there she is on the ground being electrocuted over and over again because she refuses to return an item that she stole.
Mm-hmm.
And
an item that made her very happy because it's the same picture as on the T-shirt. Anyways,
an item we saw earlier in the episode.
Yeah. Anyways,
and so the girls who had offered to help them clean come back and see the situation, turn around and say, "We didn't see anything.
We saw nothing." And they just leave. And that's the end of that episode.
Yes.
Which
means that because of her behavior, they didn't get any help, and they'll spend the rest of the day cleaning.
Mm-hmm. After the aphrodisiac wears off. Which means they'll be even more tired. Anyways, episode 3, it starts off with the first kind of serious plot, where girls are being attacked. And it starts off actually with Congo, and she's in an alleyway by herself, and she notices somebody else is there, and she says, "Who are you? Come out! Like, I'm a level 4 telepath, or I'm a level 4 esper. You won't stand a chance against me. Don't you dare try anything." And then she gets zapped and knocked unconscious, and we see somebody appear right in front of her, someone with a pretty bad haircut.
I don't think we barely see the bangs. It pans up from her shoes to her skirt, so we know it's a girl. Up her chest on her.
We see the bangs though.
Barely.
We see the bangs, and we can see that the bangs are cut at an angle.
I thought that we didn't see her. I guess we did see her eyes barely. So yeah, we saw her bangs. We saw her eyes.
But she. Anyways. Just kind of getting right down to the chase, this episode, we learn that multiple girls have been attacked.
Yes.
And the reason we learn this, the two friends, Satin and Uiharu, they're invited into this really kind of ritzy part of town that normal people don't go to.
Right.
And they're very excited about going to a cake shop there and spending the day with their two friends. And they get to the cake shop, and they're fawning over these amazing cakes. And Uiharu gets a call, and she and and Kuroko are called into work.
Yes.
Before this, though, we should probably say that they got so excited about being in this part of town, and they kind of noticed that they stood out because most people didn't wear. A lot of people, like, no one in that area wore their school uniforms, so they were unique, and so they stood out.
Everyone was still wearing their school uniforms.
No,
they were from
no,
a different school.
That's what I mean. Different schools had different uniforms,
Right.
so no one else wore their
school
uniforms.
Yes.
So they stood out because of it.
Yeah, their uniforms were unique among the uniforms present.
Yeah, I could have worded that better.
Yes.
But anyways, so Satan actually falls into a puddle.
Yeah.
And so they get her a change of clothing, and it's a change of clothing from the girls' academy that Misaka and Kuroko attend.
Yes.
And which makes Ueharu extremely jealous because she wants to wear it. She wants to look like she goes to that school.
I'll trade you.
I'll trade you. He's like, your uniform's too small. It wouldn't fit me.
It's true.
But yeah, so now they're in the cake shop and those two get called away. And we kind of cut between the two scenes. And we learn from those two girls, or we learn from Ueharu's group that multiple girls have been attacked. And every single one of them has attended this girls' academy.
Yes. And then they're shown what happens.
What happens to each girl.
To each girl who's been attacked.
And they just all freak out.
They are given a moment to say, "Are you sure you are ready to see this? We wouldn't be part of we wouldn't be part of justice if we wouldn't."
We were ready for this the moment we signed up for justice, And it turns and the girls just go, they just kind of gasp, and then it cuts back to Misaka and Satan, and Satan.
And Satan is attacked.
Well, yeah, but Satan goes off by herself into the bathroom to wash her hands or something, or just use the bathroom. And as she's getting cleaned up, she gets attacked, and she gets knocked unconscious by a taser. And Misaka is wondering what is going on because it's taken for her forever, and so she goes into the bathroom and she sees her there, and
lying unconscious,
head against the sink. Very uncomfortable position.
Yes.
But anyways, she
rushes to her aid,
picks her up, and she just gasps. And we cut back and we see Congo like in a recording, and she's covering her forehead with her fan, screaming, saying, getting very, very upset that no one was believing her. But it cuts back to they're trying to figure out what on earth is going on. How on earth would this happen? Like, she's saying, I could not see them. There was no one there. But they're like, but no, on the security cameras it shows that there was people there. And she's like, yeah, but I couldn't see anybody. Don't you call me a liar. There was no one else there but me. And so they look up these abilities, and like it couldn't be somebody who would turn invisible because they noticed that.
Yeah, people capable of turning invisible, even from cameras. Apparently, there's like 47 of them in the area. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Satan is lying on a couch with bandages over her forehead.
It's a rag.
It's a rag.
Yeah, it's most likely a damp towel that they've got on her forehead. And it cuts to
but they're talking, so they're talking back and forth,
and they discover somebody who has an ability. I forget what the ability is called. I didn't write it down. Something or other.
It's like a dumb block or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, where she has the ability to make people not be aware of her.
Yeah, it's kind of a perception filter.
Yeah,
like,
where
cameras can still see her, but people are just not aware that she's around.
Or she's how they describe it is that if somebody's looking for her, then she can hide herself. Is what they kind of described it as.
Right.
But sorry, you were saying?
I just like him to use the term perception filter given your shirt today.
Okay. Anyways.
It's a Doctor Who reference. Yeah. It says that a perception filter is why people don't notice the blue box.
I'm a responsible adult. Finally.
A lie too big.
Anyway, but as they've discovered this girl who goes to a different middle school, they learn that, or Satan wakes up and she gets up and like, oh no, Satan, just go ahead and stay still. Don't bother standing. And they all just start laughing really, really hard. And I kind of had the feeling like the certain scientific index became very serious after a while.
Yes.
But at the very same time, the very first part of it was very, very lighthearted and fun. And so I was assuming that this was going to be more of a prank than anything actually bad happening to these girls.
Yeah, I actually read the description.
Oh, you read the description?
I read the description of the episode, which kind of spoiled it a little bit for me.
Gotcha.
Because it did mention that the incident was involving a permanent marker. But it didn't say how.
Oh, okay.
So a permanent marker was involved.
And she drew super thick eyebrows on Satin's head and gave her a
thick
unibrow as well.
With a
like little squiggly mark in the middle for like ingrown, for hairs coming out and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
She drew
and every time they look at it,
fat unibrow on this poor girl.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and the entire reason she was targeted, we learn, is because she was wearing one of those school uniforms. Mm-hmm. This girl was targeting girls from that school.
As it says in the episode title.
But so they decide to go ahead and track this girl down because she's the only one who it could be. Well, they're saying, well, it can't be her. She's only level 2. There's no way she can turn completely invisible. She doesn't have that ability. And then Satin wakes up and says, that's her. And like, wait, how do you know? Well, right after I got zapped, right before I went out, I saw her in the mirror.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. So then they go ahead and they get their branch 177 of Justice doesn't have jurisdiction in that area, but they get permission to go ahead and work in that area. Mm-hmm. And Uiharu shows her incredible skills with the computer by pulling up all 2,500 cameras in that area at once.
Yeah.
And so they narrow it down to where she could be. Process of elimination. Like, well, she wouldn't be in these areas because these areas are too far away from the school.
Yeah, she's targeting students of this school. She'll be in this area.
She's going to avoid areas with lots of people, especially since she's wearing
high traffic areas. You don't have to worry about
because she's wearing a uniform that's not common in this area, so people would recognize her. So she would need to take breaks between using her ability. So she'd have to find a place where she could rest and not be disturbed. And so they narrow it down, and they narrow it down, and they only use the cameras in that area, and they hunt this girl down. And she is about to get another victim, who's actually one of the swimming girls from the previous episode.
Yes.
And Satin is the first one to find her, and she's wearing a baseball hat to help cover the eyebrows.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how she's going to get her revenge, and then the girl turns invisible and runs away. But because she can only turn invisible from people's sight, they're able to track her using the cameras. And so they corner her. They find her when she no longer has any more abilities and stuff, or she's exhausted her ability and she needs to rest now.
Yeah.
They've all cornered her, and Misaka's kind of standing there. And they're going to bring her in, but she gets pissed and she starts cursing out that academy that they're at. And she pulls out her taser and she runs at Misaka and tases Misaka. And she's like, ha, I got you. I'm going to get away.
And it's this beautiful moment that Misaka has got the taser right in her sternum. It's like, and she keeps clicking the button trying to get it. And you see the tasing, you see the electrical shocks coming through. And nothing's happening. Nothing at all is happening.
And Misaka,
this is one of mine. And Misaka's like, holds her fingers apart, and a little bit of electricity passes through them and says, sorry, tasers have no effect on me. And then the arm that's stretched out to her, she touches with one finger. And off screen, we hear a scream, and then we see her unconscious body on the floor.
And as she's unconscious, and as they've called the police or whatever, I forget what they're called, but it's not Justice, it's something else. Justice assists these people.
Anti-skill. They call them anti-skill.
As anti-skill, they've called anti-skill to come pick this girl up, and as anti-skill's on the way, Satin decides that she wants revenge, and so she goes over and she's got this permanent marker out, and she brushes up the bangs, and she sees the girl has short, thick eyebrows already.
Yes.
And they all kind of stand back. And the girl wakes up, and she starts crying because they saw her eyebrows. And she shares her tragic story with them, how earlier this year she had a boyfriend, and it was the greatest time of her life. But then after spring ended, her boyfriend dumped her and started dating someone from your academy. And and so she accused her boyfriend, or she met him and started saying, why are girls from that academy really so much better than me? Why did you go with one of them? And he just said, I'm sorry, you have ugly eyebrows.
Yeah.
And so that's her entire reason for drawing eyebrows on girls from that academy.
And so, and that gives Satan a change of heart, and she then proceeds to compliment her eyebrows and saying, no, it's a unique feature on an otherwise cute face. It makes you charming.
And that instantly makes this poor broken girl latch onto her emotionally.
Yeah.
And as she's being taken away by anti-skill, she's like, is it okay if I write you letters? And Satan's just like realizing what she's just done. She's just like, yeah, sure. But anyways, as anti-skill goes off, taking this young girl with them.
Yeah.
Misaka says to herself, like, she really could turn invisible. That's really, really weird. But she's only level 2. How could she do that? You know. And she said, your system said that she's level 2. Is your system wrong? And Kuroko's just like, no, our system's not wrong. There's no way it's wrong. So that's giving hints to the overall arc of what's going to be happening during the first season. Because there's 48 episodes. Yeah. There's 2 24-episode seasons of this show.
Yes, there is.
So, anyways.
So we believe that's a hint. I don't think it's as big of a hint as you think it is. I think that she may have willfully...
I looked it up.
Of course you did.
Well, I just went to the wiki afterwards while I was looking for information about characters and things like that about what was, and later on. But
now,
yeah.
Was she involved with people who were downplaying, or are people?
I only saw I just read like the basic description of the arc, and it's there is someone out there who can increase people's skills.
Ah. Okay.
So. Okay. So let's go ahead. That's it for the first 3 episodes of A Certain Scientific Railgun. What are your final thoughts?
Before we wrap that up, one more gag at the very end of episode 3 is that it's revealed that the permanent marker doesn't wash off for a week.
Oh yeah, it's a brand new type of permanent marker that just came out, so it's going to be there for a full week.
It's like, I should have done something to her face.
Yep. Satan immediately regrets that she let her go. But yeah, she's gonna be stuck with those eyebrows for a week. So, fun times.
Okay, now that wraps up.
Okay, now that wraps up the first 3 episodes. What are your final thoughts?
It's a heavily fan servicey show, more so than the other one was. I feel.
Well, this one centers around the girls.
It does.
Though the last one did have scenes with Index. Actually, the last one was fan servicey as well, though.
The first few episodes were pretty fan servicey of A Certain Magical Index, but it got tamer over time.
Well, I assume the same thing is going to happen as it gets more serious with Railgun.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Well, I enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to go ahead and keep watching it, and I'm very excited for A Certain Scientific Accelerator that's going to come out later on this year.
Yes, in preparation for this episode, I did watch all of the season 1 of.
And you met Accelerator.
And I've met Accelerator. Yes.
See how powerful he is.
And the things that he can do.
Mm-hmm. Accelerator, for those of you who don't know, he's he is the most powerful level 5.
Yes.
And he has the ability to change vectors of anything.
Which, the first time I heard about this power, Doug was talking about it, so he's clearly seen this.
Yeah.
And he was just gushing about how insanely overpowered that concept alone is.
Mm-hmm.
There's the ability to redirect the direction that energy is going.
Mm-hmm.
And they feature in the show that he can redirect bullets coming at him, get redirected directly back to where they were shot from. Other people's powers.
Anything.
Not only can he reverse human beings' blood flow to kill them in an excruciating manner, he can also cause blood in an open bullet wound to flow back into itself and not even lose a drop of blood and just keep a person alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does that to keep somebody alive. So it's he's an interesting character. I'm excited to see a show centered around him.
Now, what's interesting is In the first part of the show that shows him, the shirt that he's wearing has narrow stripes and diamonds on it. And then later on, he's got wider stripes and no diamonds. Which means that this tiger has changed his stripes. As a visual cue. How he is when you first meet him and how he is later has changed.
Okay, well, anyways, let's go ahead and move on. What are we going to watch next week?
Okay. So, last week, something we ended up talking about was that frothy mug of water in a card game. And I actually went out and looked it up, and that card game was called Annie Mayhem. And I used to have a deck of Annie Mayhem cards, and some of the cards were from an anime called, and I can't tell you whether it's pronounced El Hazard or El Hazard, and I've always pronounced it El Hazard because it sounded like the way it should be pronounced to me, but it might be El Hazard. I don't know. But El Hazard, the Wanderers, has been described on various anime blogs as Tenchi Muyo's long-lost cousin.
Okay.
The description reads, Makoto always upstages Jinai without trying, which only aggravates the delusional rivalry that Jinai has concocted within his own mind. However, when Jinai attempts to sabotage Makoto's newest invention, the machine creates a dimensional rift and throws Makoto, Jinai, and several others from their school into a strange new world that is filled with amazing creatures, beautiful sights, and dangerous enemies. If they ever want to get home, it's going to take wits, courage, and a lot of luck. So, from that description alone, it kind of sounds like Sliders.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of does.
But yeah, I put it as something that I want to watch.
Okay.
I'd seen artwork from it. It's one of the list of classic anime that I've always wanted to get into and never found the time to and never found the resources to. And now that Crunchyroll has started picking up some of these older anime, it's something I want to watch.
Okay.
And see how it is.
All right, good deal. I just added it to the queue. And yeah, that's the same company. That's definitely the same company that did Tenchi.
Yep.
All right. All right, so that's it for 3 episodes in. Let's move on to the recommendation of the week.
All right, and this week I'm recommending Outlaw Star.
Good recommendation.
Outlaw Star is a fantastic anime. We watched it when it was on Toonami's in the afternoon on Cartoon Network.
When we first watched it, we had no idea how much they cut out. They sanitized the crap out of that show.
Of course they did. But if you're a fan of Firefly and you haven't seen this show, do yourself a favor and put that into your memory.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Go watch.
Because there is so many. This show came out well before Firefly, and Firefly references it from time to time so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, there's a girl in a box
who
is actually a component of the ship that they're on. And so, in the episode of Firefly, where River pretends to have merged with the enemy's ship, or it pretends to have merged with the Serenity, I thought maybe she had. Because there's so many Firefly references or so many Outlaw Star references in Firefly that when that happens, I thought, okay, maybe.
Isn't she also in the exact same pose that River's in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fetal pose. It's a naked girl in a fetal pose. So it's not an out there pose.
All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, Outlaw Star is a great show, so I double that recommendation.
Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be featured on one of our 3 episodes in because we've already seen all of it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, unless you guys really want us to talk about it. But anyways, awesome. So now it's time for our creator shout out.
Yep.
And my creator shout out is to Jonathan Young. And he is a cover artist on YouTube. I discovered him back when I was obsessed with the One Punch Man theme song. and I was listening to it quite a lot. I now own it. I think I bought it on Amazon for like $1. But he did an English translation of I Want to Be a Hero.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. He does a lot of translated songs for openings for anime.
Okay.
And he does a lot of other things as well. Like he did a cover of the Skyrim opening song. It's a lot of fun. Go ahead and give him his stuff a listen on YouTube.
Fantastic. And what kind of social platforms we're going to link out to?
I've got his Twitter, his Instagram, and his YouTube channel that we're going to go ahead and link out to.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening in this week. If you listened on YouTube, please feel free to like and subscribe our channel. If you like what we do and want to support us, please spread the word of our podcast or even support us on Patreon. Where can they find us on social media?
Our site, whittakerweekly.com, currently has links to our Facebook page, Twitter account, Patreon page, and YouTube channel. We encourage all our listeners to follow us on the social media platform of their preference, and if there's one we're not on yet, please reach out to us on one of the ones we've mentioned, and we'll broaden our scope to include you.
All right, well, that concludes another episode. Well, I've been Andrew.
I've been Lee.
And this has been Whittaker Weekly. You guys have a great week.